like erectile dysfunction, ED, often called impotence. You know, it's a little embarrassing to talk about ED.
Remember this? Yeah, that's Bob Dole, the Republican who faced Bill Clinton for president, talking in a TV ad about Viagra. You've probably seen many ads about the drug or heard references in pop culture, like in this scene from the CW's Supernatural.
Turns out Harold was stealing the other residents' Viagra.
I know. It's a real dick move, huh?
But back in the late 90s, when the Bob Dole ad first appeared on TV, talking about treating ED was a pretty big deal. ED affects 1 in 10 men. It's an uncomfortable topic for most males, and Viagra was the first non-invasive treatment for it. And that was extremely lucrative for Pfizer, the pharmaceutical company who developed the iconic blue diamond-shaped pill. In its first quarter in 1998, Viagra brought in $400 million in worldwide revenue. It would later bring in sales of $1.8 billion each year on average worldwide. Flash forward to 2019, and Pfizer still holds a lead in the erectile dysfunction market, even as competition from generics erodes Viagra's sales. That was possible due to several factors, including a shift in Pfizer's business strategy. But it helps to start at the beginning to explain how Viagra remains on top. Viagra was originally developed to treat high blood pressure in adults, but it became a hit for males in the bedroom and Pfizer when it was found to allow greater blood flow to the penis. Pfizer patented the drug and introduced it to the US market in 1998 as an ED med. The drug was widely popular with consumers and even labeled a wonder pill. Previous treatments were mostly non-oral medications like penile injection therapy. You can probably see why that wasn't as popular. The drug has been credited with opening up a dialogue between men and their doctors about sexual health.
It kind of improves the conversation and the rapport between men and their doctors. It also forces the doctor to acknowledge other aspects of the men's health, like mood, depression, intimacy, relationships, stress, everything else that kind of can lead to erectile dysfunction in its own way.
But Viagra's domination of the ED market always had an expiration date. Companies typically get a set number of years of exclusive rights to sell their drug before having to let others make their own versions. Pfizer ended up losing exclusive rights to Viagra in late 2017. That brought with it a flood of generic versions. A generic medicine is the same as a brand name medicine in dosage, safety, and effectiveness. It's also usually much cheaper. Therefore, doctors will typically prescribe a generic medicine over a brand name when available. So you could imagine what happened to Pfizer. The following year, US sales of Viagra suffered, declining 73% year over year from nearly 800 million to 217 million. But Pfizer knew this was coming. So in late 2017, before it lost exclusive rights, the drug maker said it would produce a generic version of the little blue pill. The drug was called Sildenafil and was half the cost of Viagra. This change in strategy spared Pfizer from losing most of its market share since it could compete in the generic market. As of 2019, Pfizer's strategy worked. 65% of ED prescriptions filled from late 2018 to the end of January 2019 were for Viagra or its generic version. 30% of prescriptions were for rival Cialis and its generic, Tadalafil. Levitra and generic Vardenafil came in third at 5% of the market.
I think Viagra has been able to capture a larger or retain a larger part of the market share than we would see for another branded drug for, let's say, high blood pressure or high cholesterol when generics enter. But it's also the case that we haven't seen as much generic entry yet as we will see in the next 5 to 10 years. And I expect that its position as a market leader would fall.
Other factors also help Pfizer. For one, it's one of the most recognizable brands for ED treatment. There's also the rise of direct-to-consumer startups to consider. For example, Get Roman is a telemedicine provider that connects patients to doctors online to offer maximum privacy and convenience. They've removed the middlemen, such as drugstores, and have allowed customers to buy ED meds online. Pfizer also hopped on this strategy. It widened the availability of its brand name drug online. It said it would offer new discounts to make the branded version of Viagra more accessible to patients. It even allowed consumers to purchase the medication directly from its website. So talking about ED may not be as big of a deal as it was when Bob Dole's ad appeared, and neither is Viagra.